lecture in the greetings to you all in the process of teaching online. This is a video lecture from me once again on the poem number 2, Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. Fire and Ice is a short rhyming poem Frost wrote in the year 1920, probably inspired by Dante's Inferno, Canto 32, which was the first book of his 14th century Divine Comedy, which deals with the subject of sinners in a fiery hell, up to the neck in a lake of ice. So, what was depicted over there? It was about a fiery hell in which the sinners were dipped up to their necks in a lake of ice. So, fire and ice both were present over there. Other sources claim the poem was created following a conversation with astronomer Harlow Shapley about the end of the world. The noted astronomer, when questioned by Frost, said that either the sun will explode or the earth will slowly freeze. Take your pick. So, what did the astronomer say to the poet? He said that either the sun will explode or the earth will slowly freeze. And he asked to pick one of the options to the poet Robert Frost. But Robert Frost, in his own inimitable way, chose both. The poet here expresses this dualism in a typical rhythmic fashion, using a modified version of the rhyming scheme known as terza rima, where the second line of the first tercet rhymes fully with the first and the third lines of the text. This was invented by none other than Dante in his Divine Comedy, so Frost may have borrowed the idea. This is the second thought. In short, what I wanted to say you here is that both the sources sound plausible and resulted in a curious tongue-in-cheek kind of poem. The tone being somewhat casual and understated, whilst the subject matter is one of the most serious you could think of. You can also listen to the video carefully, in which Robert Frost speaks in an almost offhand way, as if saying to the reader, you make up your mind by which method of destruction you prefer. One or the other is going to happen sooner or later. This poem was first published in 1923 in his book New Hampshire. Fire and Ice is a strong symbolic poem, fire becoming the emotion of desire and ice that of hatred. In essence, the fire is pure passion and ice is pure reason.
Poem. The speaker considers the age-old question whether the world will end in fire or in ice. So that is a very important question, and that is an age-old question. How the world is going to be ended away, whether the world is going to be burnt down or the world is going to be frozen down, whether it is going to be burnt away in fire or it is just going to be frozen down into ice. So this is similar to another age-old question, whether it would be preferable to freeze to death or to burn to death. That if it becomes the matter of choice, what we would prefer, whether we are going to prefer to be frozen down to death or we would prefer to be burned down to death. The speaker determines that either option would achieve its purpose sufficiently well. So both the options are going to be able to achieve their purpose sufficiently well. That both the options, either we end in fire or we end in ice. In both ways, the world is going to be ended away. That is what I would like to provide you here in the introductory part of the poem. So dear children, now we are going to start start up with the line-by-line explanation of the poem Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. But what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So children, the poem expresses a very deep idea, the poem expresses a very profound idea that this world is going to be ended away either in fire or in ice. That this world is going to be ended away in two ways. Either it is going to be burnt away or it is just going to be frozen down into the form of ice. So one group of the people have got the opinion that someday the core of the earth is going to be heated up in such a way that it is going to produce an extreme fire and that is going to engulf the entire humanity. While on the other hand, the second group of people have got the idea that one day the temperature of the earth is going to be decreased to such an extent that the life on the earth is going to be impossible and everything is just going to be frozen down. So children, here I would like to tell you that this is the verbal meaning, this is the literal meaning of the lines. But at the same time, every poem has got an allegorical meaning also, a hidden meaning also. So according to that hidden meaning, here the poet has been comparing fire and ice with the destructive features of human emotions. The poet compares fire with desire and he compares ice with hatred. So the poet says that someday the world will end away in fire. So the people who are burning in desire, from what I have tasted of desire means the people who have tasted of desire, the people who have been burning down in desire, they are just going to be ended away in fire. It is for them that the world is going to be ended away in fire. तो बच्चों यहाँ पे मैं आपको बता दूं कि पोएट क्या कहता है कि इस पोएम में एक बहुत डीप आइडिया है कि ये वर्ल्ड जो है, ये संसार जो है, ये या तो जल करके भस्म हो जाएगा या ये बर्फ की तरीके से जम जाएगा. तो कुछ लोगों का मानना ये है, इसकी लिटरल मीनिंग के हिसाब से कुछ लोगों का मानना यह है कि एक दिन अर्थ की कोर इतनी गर्म हो जाएगी कि अर्थ जो है उसी में भस्म हो जाएगी. और दूसरे लोग ये कहते हैं कि एक दिन ये टेम्परेचर इतना नीचे चला जाएगा कि अर्थ जम जाएगी. तो ये तो इसकी लिटरल मीनिंग है. लेकिन अगर इसकी हम एलिगोरिकल, इसकी हम हिडन मीनिंग की बात करें तो यहाँ पे फायर और आइस को ह्यूमन इमोशंस के साथ में कंपेयर किया गया है. तो फायर जो है ये डिजायर ऑफ फायर को सिंबलाइज करती है, हीट ऑफ डिजायर को सिंबलाइज करती है, और आइस हेट्रेड को सिंबलाइज करती है. तो पोएट का कहना यह है कि दोज हु हैव टेस्टेड ऑफ डिजायर, कि दोज हु आर बर्निंग इन डिजायर, कि जो डिजायर में, जो कामना में जल रहे हैं, उनके लिए ये दुनिया आग में भस्म होकर के समाप्त होने वाली है. ये बात यहाँ पे आपको फर्स्ट स्टैंजा में बताई गई. मेरे ख्याल से ये बात आपको समझ में आ गई होगी बच्चों. So children, now we are going to start here with the explanation of the second stanza. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So here first of all I would like to give you the meaning of the words. Perish, perish means to end away, and twice means the second time. When something happens for the second time, it is happening twice. Then suffice. Suffice means end away. So earlier you have seen that the poet was talking about the idea of the world ending up in fire. That the people who are burning in desire, they are going to lead the earth to destruction. The people who are burning in desire, the people who are burning in the fire of desire are going to lead the earth to destruction. And now here, without waving off the first opinion of fire, he considers that if the world has to expire twice, that if the world has to be ended away twice, ice would also be equally competent in ending it. कि अगर अर्थ को दोबारा नष्ट होना है, पेरिश का मतलब नष्ट होना, कि अगर अर्थ को दोबारा नष्ट होना है तो वो कह रहा है, वो फर्स्ट ओपिनियन को वेव ऑफ नहीं कर रहा है, फर्स्ट ओपिनियन को वो वॉश ऑफ नहीं कर रहा है. कह रहा है कि अगर सेकेंड टाइम अर्थ को नष्ट होना है तो मेरे ख्याल से आइस भी सफिशिएंट होगी इसको एंड करने के लिए. सो चिल्ड्रन, हियर वंस अगेन आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू दैट आइस हैज बीन रेफरिंग टू द फीलिंग ऑफ हेट्रेड. काइंडली पे अटेंशन. बट इफ इट हैड टू पेरिश ट्वाइस, सो what the poet has told you, that first of all the earth is just going to be burnt away in the heat of desire. But if something remains and then it has to be destroyed again, I think it is going to be destroyed out of hatred. It is going to be destroyed out of the feeling of hatred. So the feeling of hatred has been referred to as ice. And that is what he says. I think I know enough of hate, that there is enough of hate, and this enough amount of hatred is going to freeze away the earth. It is just going to make the earth frozen away into nothingness. To say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So this emotion of hatred can be compared with ice, and this ice of hatred is just going to end away the world. तो पोएट क्या कहता है कि अगर दोबारा से फिर कभी इस अर्थ को नष्ट होना हो तो दुनिया में इतनी नफरत है कि ये जो नफरत की ठंड है, इस नफरत की ठंड में, क्योंकि जब हम नफरत करते हैं तो हमारी फीलिंग्स कोल्ड हो जाती हैं, हम जब किसी से नफरत करते हैं तो हमारे सेंटिमेंट्स कोल्ड हो जाते हैं. कोल्ड सेंटिमेंट मीन्स नॉट हैविंग अ फ्रेंडली सेंटिमेंट. दैट इज अ फ्रेज, कोल्ड सेंटिमेंट. कोल्ड सेंटिमेंट्स मीन्स नॉट हैविंग अ फ्रेंडली सेंटिमेंट. तो हमारे सेंटिमेंट फ्रेंडली कब नहीं रहेंगे? जब हमारी फीलिंग्स कोल्ड हो जाएंगी, एंड दैट मीन्स दैट वी हैव गॉट हेट्रेड इन अवर हार्ट. तो वही चीज पोएट यहाँ पे कह रहा है कि ये हेट्रेड की जो फीलिंग है, ये हमारे सेंटिमेंट्स को, ये हमारी भावनाओं को आइस की तरीके से कोल्ड कर देंगी. आइस कोल्ड कर देंगी हमारे सेंटिमेंट्स को, और उस नफरत में ये दुनिया नष्ट हो जाएगी. इट वुड बी सफाइज्ड, इट वुड बी एंडेड अवे. So I hope you would have been able to understand the things up to here. So dear children, here I would like to give you some information about the literary devices that have been used in this poem. So first of all, we are going to deal with the rhyme scheme. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, AAB, fire, ice, desire, fire twice. So fire is A, then ice is B, then desire, fire are again AA, and then twice is matching with ice. So AB, AAB, then CB, CB, hate is C, ice is B, that is matching with twice, CB, CB. So hate and great, CC, and ice and suffice BB. So it would be CB, CB. I hope you would have been able to understand the rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme you would be able to identify if you just happen to notice the last words of every line. You would be able to get to know how the rhyme scheme has been adjusted. And then we come to assonance. So it is the repetition of the vowel sound in the same line. Previously also we have been told. So there is the long sound of O. I hold with those who favor fire. So emphasis has been laid on the sound of O. Then imagery. Imagery is something that we perceive from our senses. Some say the world will end in fire. So this is a kind of perception, and that is why here there is imagery. Then anaphora, when some expression has been repeated again and again. Some say the world will end in fire, some say the world will end in ice. So the repetition of some say is anaphora. Then enjambment, you have already been told that when the idea does not stop at the end of the line, rather it continues to the next lines for some time. So that is enjambment, and that is why at the end of the line there is no comma or full stop. So I hope you would have been able to understand everything up to here.
So Fire and Ice is a short poem by Robert Frost, and what we see here is the analysis now. And the analysis says that it's a lot of thought most definitely went into the creation of this poem. Fire and Ice is written in a series of 9 lines. It features a narrator describing the end of the world in its own vision. And it's largely simplistic. It goes very simple. Some say that this world will end in fire. Some say in ice. So there is a disagreement which has been featured through this poem. What is it? There is 2 different views. Some say the world will end in fire, and others on the contrary say it will end in ice. These first few lines describe the disagreement in general society on the topic of how the world ends. In a modern sense, fire and ice could well be the stand-ins for nuclear disaster and the climate change. Frost's use of fire and ice, however, is largely metaphoric decision that opens the poem up to different kinds of interpretations. Ice and fire, of course, are opposites to one another, suggesting that most people have entirely opposing views. Okay, after all, the world can't end in ice and fire at the same time. Ice and fire also represent two extremes. On a grand enough scale, could cause immense damage, and fitting metaphors for harbingers of death. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Here the speaker provides their own opinion. They equate fire with desire, which is to suggest that it is equal with passions, with greed, with rage. Fire is being used as a metaphor for strong, consuming emotions such as desire. It is a fitting analogy. In a candle or a fireplace, fire shows a person the way. It is warmth and light. In the same way, small desires are no trouble at all and can guide a person to the things they want in life. On a large scale, however, fire consumes and destroys, and so too does desire. The speaker recalls their experiences with strong desire and tends to believe that is those kinds of emotions and impulses that lead the world down its irrevocable path. Whence we cannot come back. It is a one way. For the speaker, the world will end in fire. That is his first choice. But he also says that if it had to perish to ice, I think I know enough of it to say for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. What he says? But if I had to perish to ice, I think I know enough of it to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. As the close opposite to the burning desires of speaker sees as being so dangerous, the ice is also a concern in the mind. They believe the world will burn in one form or the other and that would end it. But if it didn't end and the fire wasn't enough, the remainder of the poem says, then they believe the ice could manage the feat as well. As an opposite to the burning flame, a chilling sheen of ice represents hatred to the speaker. They think of it as something that would chill the world, slow it down, and isolate each individual enough that the human race simply couldn't survive it. The potential for ice would suffice, and even though they tend to believe in the destructive power of desire, they see no reason to believe the hate couldn't end the world just as easily. So that's what we have to end up with this poem now. Thank you so much.